everyone. Today I am starting with chapter number 16. Harnam Singh and Bantu receive shelter in a Muslim home in Dhok, Maridpur. Okay, this chapter is a continuation of chapter number 14, dealing with the uprooting of Harnam Singh and his wife Bantu from their village Dhok Ilahi Baksh. When Harnam Singh and Bantu sought shelter in the first house they knocked at, the woman of the house, Rajo, let them in and bolted the door again. Harnam Singh narrated their tale of woe to her, and she heard Harnam Singh tell his tale of woe and offered them a glass of lassi. They hesitated for a moment but finally drank it. Rajo told them that the menfolk were away and were about to return. Her husband, she said, was a God-fearing man, but her son was a member of the League and she could not say how he would behave towards them. Harnam Singh was completely resigned to his fate and said that if he wanted them to leave, they would go and move to the door. Rajo watched them for a moment and then told them not to go. The young woman, Rajo's daughter-in-law, objected, but Rajo could not bring herself to turn out those who had sought shelter from her. She hid them in the loft. Harnam Singh had decided that in case of an emergency, she would shoot Bantu first and then kill himself. At Akran's suggestion, Rajo asked Harnam Singh to hand his gun over to her. Harnam Singh hesitated, but realizing that he had no choice, gave it to her. He felt even more defenseless than before. When Rajo's husband came with a big black trunk, she told him that she had given shelter to an old Sikh couple. Meanwhile, Akran was busy breaking open the lock. At that moment, Harnam Singh looked out from his hiding place, recognized Ehsan Ali and asked them not to break open the open the trunk. It was their trunk and offered them the key. Ehsan Ali felt embarrassed. Later, the same drama was enacted as had happened earlier with Rajo. Ehsan Ali told them that the people were looking for them and that if they came to know that they were hiding here, they would get into trouble. Harnam Singh resigned as before, came down the loft and prepared to leave, but Ehsan Ali had second thoughts and hid them in the godown. Sometime during the day, Rajo gave them chapati and buttermilk. The thought of their children Iqbal and Jasbir came to their mind. When Ehsan Ali's son Ramzan came home and was told of the situation, he went wild with rage. बहुत गुस्सा आया उसको and broke open the door of the godown and asked the Kafirs to come out. But when it came to killing him, he couldn't, for he too had recognized Harnam Singh. It was nearly midnight when the tall and stately Rajo escorted the Sikh couple out of the village. She handed Harnam Singh his gun and Bantu the packet of jewelry that she had found in the trunk, and wishing them well, sent them off to an uncertain future. Now, chapter number 17, Iqbal Singh is hunted, humiliated and is forced to get converted to Islam. अब इकबाल सिंह कौन है? हरनाम सिंह का बेटा. The story of the pursuit and capture and conversion of Iqbal Singh almost runs parallel to the incident in chapter number 16. It is only after Ramzan has finished with Iqbal that he comes home and is wild with rage at Harnam Singh seeking shelter in his own house. Ramzan and his friends, some 20 or so of them, were returning from looting in Dhok Ilahi Baksh and Maridpur when they spotted a young Sikh running for his life in the distance. He had a cloth shop at Mirpur, or is it Nurpur, and was probably going to join his father Harnam Singh at Dhokilahi Baksh. The marauders saw him and pursued him. Ramzan was in the lead. At one stage, he hid himself in a deep hole, but they pelted him with stones relentlessly and finally succeeded in ferreting him out. They told him that he must embrace Islam or he would be stoned to death. Iqbal, bruised and battered and completely broken in spirit, came out on all fours. He had no other choice but to assent to being converted. At this, they led him in triumph to the village for conversion. But his agreeing to conversion did not mean the end of his torture or derision at the hands of the marauders. In the village, his hair was cut off and his beard given a Muslim cut. He was asked to suck a piece of raw meat thrust into his mouth, and he was made to recite the kalma. Then everyone embraced him as his new brother. Thereafter, he was bathed and dressed in a new clothes, was circumcised, and finally given a new name and a new identity as Iqbal Ahmad. Thus, all marks of Sikhism were wiped out, replaced by the marks of the Muslim faith. He was now no longer an enemy but a friend, not a kafir but a believer. Now, I am coming on chapter number 18. Sikh women's heroism amid fierce fighting at Sayyidpur. Government finally intervenes and the rioting stops. The fight between Sikh and Muslims was bitter and lasted 2 days and 2 nights. Each community looked upon the other as its traditional enemy. Among the many people who died was Sohan Singh. He had earlier been sent with a peace proposal, and his death was the Muslim answer to the peace proposal. Shops and houses had also been set on fire. The ammunition on both sides was nearly exhausted, though each side shouted their war cries more vociferously to appear strong. मीन्स screamly, बहुत ज़्यादा चीख पुकार थी. Okay, let's do it. The Gurdwara was virtually under siege. The morale inside was pretty low. It was realized that they had blundered by assembling at the Gurdwara and by snapping ties with Ghulam Rasul. The Sikhs now tried to buy peace. Mir Dad's services were searched, but when he learnt that money was involved, he dissociated himself from the process. The choice of the negotiators then fell on Meher Singh, the young brother of the Granthi. The Muslim demand was said to be 2 lakhs, but Meher Singh was asked to settle for an amount up to 1 lakh rupee. 1 lakh rupees. Meanwhile, some mujahids were narrating their experiences at Ghulam Rasul's house. One religious warrior said that several of them had assaulted a Hindu girl, but when his turn came, he found that the girl he was assaulting had died. Another case was of a Bagri woman who pleaded with them not to kill her, and all the 7 of them could have her as their keep. But one of them stabbed her to death. Suddenly the fighting flared up again. While the younger Granthi was going to the Muslims for peace negotiations, the Nihang posted on the roof of the Gurdwara shouted that the attackers had come. Alarmed at this, the elder Granthi shouted at his brother to stop and come back, but he continued to move forward. When the elder Granthi realized that the Meher Singh had been killed, he rushed out barefoot and was brought back with difficulty. War cries were heard and heavy firing started. The Sikhs responded with fighting with their swords. There was no ammunition left. The situation was desperate. The marauders had reached the lane leading to the Gurdwara. The Sikh woman, led by Jasbir Kaur, went to the well outside the Gurdwara and jumped into it. Some women jumped along with children, while others went alone. By the time the day broke, the fighting had ceased. Dead bodies were littered all over. Kites and vultures and crows arrived in large numbers and hovered over the village and particularly over the well. The rioting had ceased, but not quite, for a young Muslim was in the process of spilling kerosene oil on the windows of the Gurdwara and setting fire to them. He gave up his idea only when he saw an aeroplane flying overhead. When the aeroplane came towards the village, people came out in large numbers. At times, the aeroplane flew so low that no one could see its white pilot with goggles on, smiling and waving to the people below. Kishan Singh, his spirits suddenly uplifted, thought the pilot had actually saluted him, and he clicked his heels and saluted him in return. He shouted, "God save the king! Sahib, God save the king!" When the pilot flew over Ghulam Rasul's house, it seemed to Kishan Singh that he, means the pilot, did not return the salutations of the people there. They thrilled him no end. This thrilled him no end, and he shouted at the Sheikh's men to fire now. All hostilities came to an end, and life began to return to normalcy. Thank you so much.